Know it all viewers. Thank you for joining me for another edition of Take Tuesday. I'm just in here real quick late on a Tuesday to get in and out and tell you about a couple of things. Thank those of you who joined us for our Sunday show with Pierce Austin. And we had a lot of fun, and we'd like to just thank him again for joining us. But today, we're going to talk about a couple of things that has transpired since Sunday when we last talked to you. First things first, we're going to talk about John Gruden, Las Vegas Raiders coach, who recently resigned over a thread of racist, misogynistic, and homophobic remarks he made in emails to Washington football team executives at the time, the Washington Redskins, Bruce Allen being one of those people. The emails in nature were pretty offensive to a lot of different people in our country. African Americans. He called NFL executive PA president DeMaurice Smith. He said he had Michelin tire lips. That's kind of a racist thing to say. The fact that people of color generally have fuller lips. So to say that in itself, that he has Michelin tire lips, is kind of racist. He sent some topless photos of Washington at the time Redskins, now football team cheerleaders in email. He said something about gay players being queers, and just that women shouldn't be allowed to be referees in the NFL. So, that whole host of things, the first thing that came out was the DeMaurice Smith comment. And these things came out because the Washington football team is under investigation into their practices, into their organization. They've had a lot of scandalous things go on with them over the past 4 or 5 years. So that he kind of got caught up in those investigations and those emails being looked at. That's how all this happened to come out. Now, granted, the email started in 2011. And they went up through 2018, back and forth. Not every email was racist or misogynistic or homophobic, but over a course of 7 years, some of these back and forth emails showed a pattern. Some people will say, hey, that happened 11 years ago. True. It did happen 11 years ago. But 11 years ago, John Gruden is essentially the age I am now. John Gruden was 48. At 48, you can't just blame it on, he was young and dumb. It was just, something that a hot-headed young man or young person said. He has to kind of be accountable for what he said then. Some people will say it's cancel culture. I don't think it's cancel culture to shine light on people's beliefs when those beliefs are, kind of leaning towards dislike or kind of stereotyping other people, putting other people underneath you. So, a few things about John Gruden. He has resigned as Las Vegas Raiders coach. He's resigned. Emmanuel Acho had a tweet. We retweeted on our Twitter page, the KnoItAllZ podcast. Go check it out. Where I thought everything he said was on point. Said John Gruden has to go. There's no place in today's society in 2021 for comments like that. We need more minorities in positions of leadership. And I agree with all those things. And the fact that John Gruden, the football aspect of it, John Gruden as a coach has a losing record as long as he's been with the Las Vegas Raiders. Former player Keyshawn Johnson came out and who played for John Gruden the 1 year they won the Super Bowl. Keyshawn Johnson called John Gruden a used car salesman, selling a bill of goods that, playing a certain character that he really can't be. He's not a great football coach. Keyshawn Johnson said Gruden came in the first year after Tony Dungy left. Tony Dungy built that team, had that team contending every year in the NFC Championship, almost ready to get to the Super Bowl. Didn't happen for Tony Dungy. Gruden came in that very first year, just a change in voice and leadership sometimes is all you need. And Gruden is a motivator. Have to give him that. So I think he came in and motivated those guys and got them over the top. But Keyshawn Johnson, probably one of their best players on that team, was a former #1 overall first-round pick out of USC in 1996. He said Gruden was a used car salesman. So that's coming from a player that played for him. He has players on the current Las Vegas. Well, he traded players, great players. Amari Cooper, wide receiver, first-round pick out of Alabama. Khalil Mack was a defensive player of the year. Gruden came in and traded those guys. Now, as we look back on them, I look at those guys, Amari Cooper and Khalil Mack, they both have really fuller lips. Did Gruden get rid of those guys because they have full lips? I don't know. I doubt it, but something to think about. Currently in the Las Vegas Raiders team, Gruden has Carl Nassib. Carl Nassib is a defensive end for the Las Vegas Raiders. He recently came out this past offseason, a little before training camp started, maybe back in April or May, and he came out and acknowledged that he was openly gay. So, with all this, what would Carl Nassib feel about playing for John Gruden? You know, in today's society, things are a lot different. People are a lot more open to different things. People do a lot of different things, have a lot of different beliefs. So we just have to be open-minded and kind of be understanding to all, you know, and it appears John Gruden is that. So is not that. So he stepped down, he resigned. The special teams coach, Basadi, I believe, is going to be the interim coach. The Las Vegas Raiders will be looking for a coach going into next season. Perhaps Mark Davis, the son of legendary Raider owner Al Davis, will hire a person of color. We have candidates like Byron Leftwich, who was the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We have offensive coordinator from the Kansas City Chiefs, Eric Bieniemy. We have the middle linebackers coach, the linebackers coach for the New England Patriots. I forgot his name, but that guy. So, you know, there are some candidates, and the Raiders, you know, not to blame the Raiders, though Mark Davis knew about the emails Friday and let John Gruden coach Sunday, probably in hopes that it would blow over because they really wanted to keep Gruden. Gruden had a 10-year, $100 million contract, which he fulfilled 4 years. So the Raiders get to save $60 million. And the Raiders were the first team to hire coaches of minority in the NFL. They hired first Tom Flores of Latino descent back in the late 70s. He won a Super Bowl, I believe, in 1981 against the Philadelphia Eagles. And they hired Art Shell back in the late 90s, the first African-American coach in the NFL. So the Raiders have a history of, you know, diversity and hiring people of color. Al Davis had one of the first women executives on his team in the NFL. So, you know, the Raiders are kind of in turmoil right now, and they have some things to clean up, some things to fix. So good luck to them. And, you know, John Gruden, farewell to you, buddy. We don't need you. Moving along, another thing that happened since Sunday, since we last talked, I want to talk about the NFL MVP race. I think as of right now, we're 5 games into the season. I think we have 4 clear candidates for MVP so far this year. First of which we have the GOAT himself. We know who that is. Tom Brady. Tampa Bay's quarterback is off to an amazing season. Tampa Bay is 4-1 on the season, looking good. Or are they 3-2? I forgot. Didn't remember my homework assignment. But Tom Brady, we got Kyler Murray. I know the Arizona Cardinals are 5-0, and Kyler Murray's having a great season. Dual threat, having a great year, leading that team so far in first place in the NFC West. One of the other quarterbacks is Justin Herbert. Los Angeles Chargers, playing great, has thrown 11 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in his last 3 games. The Chargers are off to a 4-1 record. They did lose to the Dallas Cowboys, who are a really good team. Not as good as Mod thinks, but they're a good team. But the Chargers should have won that game. The Chargers should arguably be 5-0. But they're 4-1. Justin Herbert's having a great year. He's leading that charge, no pun intended. And lastly, we have who I believe has been solid all year, but really played itself into the MVP race for not only his first MVP, but what could be a second MVP, and that's Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson had an incredible comeback last night on Monday Night Football against the Indianapolis Colts. They were down 16 points with 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and Lamar Jackson just went nuts. He went nuts. There's no other way to explain it. He was like 36 for 42 passing, set a record for completion percentage all time for quarterbacks who had over 400-yard passing. He had 442 yards, 4 touchdowns, 62 yards rushing. I mean, it was just amazing. You have to put Lamar Jackson not only in the MVP race, but as a top 5 MVP candidate. So, no, he's in the MVP race as a top 5 quarterback in the NFL this year, along with probably Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, and Jackson. And Herbert and Dak Prescott are just on the fringe of that top 5. They could get in, and Josh Allen too with some more excellent performances. But right now, those 5 I named, I'm gonna give it to. But Russ is hurt, But Rodgers and Brady are doing what we expect. And now, like I said, Jackson, Kyler Murray, man, so many great quarterbacks in the NFL right now. I keep coming with more names as I keep talking. Let me just shut up. Lastly, I want to talk about Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons, the Philadelphia 76ers, all-star, all-pro power forward who's been holding out, who's been demanding a trade from Philly, no longer wants to be there, reported to camp yesterday. Surprised the folks in Philly. They didn't know anything about him showing up, but he showed up. And we think this has something to do with his agent, Rich Paul, talking to him, talking him into going. It's best for him, even though he still wants to be traded, it's best for him to show up and not act like a malcontent in a team aspect and team culture in team sports. You can't do that. You got to be about the team. So he showed up. We believe he's going to play. And this increases Philly's leverage and ability to be able to trade him. The fact that he showed up. If they get off to a good start in the NBA season, starts on the 19th, starts a week from today. We're back to NBA already. Won't that be great? We got NFL games, we got college football, we got NBA, we got the MLB playoffs, we got the WNBA playoffs. If you're a sports lover, this is your time of year. But Ben Simmons is going to play, probably going to try and play well. The better he plays, the more incentive Philly can get, more assets Philly can get back to trading him. So I think that's going to happen. And all in all, I believe that's probably it. I'll give you an update on the ALDS series between the Houston Astros, Chicago White Sox. Houston was up 5-1. They're up 2-1. If they win this game, they win the series and advance to the American League Championship to play the Boston Red Sox. So, just to give you a little update on baseball. And that's about all I have. Thank you for joining for this Take Tuesday. Be sure to look out for Big G's Burner on Thursday. If you like the content, like us on YouTube, hit the notification, get notifications when we're going with a new show, and like us on Facebook and check us out on Twitter and Instagram. And like I said, Big G's Burners this Thursday, and we'll be back Sunday for our regularly scheduled programming. Thanks for joining me. Peace.